He sweeps the nation in sympathy with the people, the nonviolent demonstrators who are being attacked. Step 4, the massive piece of socialist legislation that he wants passed in the Congress is now passed in the backwash of the sympathy that has been erupting around the country because of the racists in Step 2 attack the nonviolent demonstrators in Step 1. This is his plan. This is why he went into the street. And it worked again and again and again. And in fact, when I was personally involved in this, because for a time, getting back there quite a while, during the height of the King activities, I would travel around the country with some people. In fact, I was it was a squad, the Truth Squad, you could call it.
Right. This is fascinating part of your article.
And there were, in this group, everybody in the group was black. I was the only white man. And the reason I was there was I wrote the book. So I would travel with these black people. They were undercover agents, FBI agents, all black. And we would expose King's activities. And I can recall for you one episode where I traveled to Sandersville, Georgia, was the name of the town.
Right.
Sandersville, Georgia. All right. There, King's revolutionaries had come in, usually, as usual, stirring up the people, stirring up the black people, stirring up the white people. They go to the white people, they tell them the blacks are getting uppity, you've got to do something. They go to the blacks, the whites are keeping you down, you've got to do something, stirring up both sides. When we arrived, the town was already a tinderbox. And on this occasion, I was traveling with Julia Brown, Mrs. Brown.
Tell the people about her.
Okay. Julia Brown was a black lady from Cleveland. She was socially conscious. She joined an organization she had been told was a group that it would advance the cause, the conditions of black people in Cleveland. After she had been in this organization for a while, she discovered it's the Communist Party. They've tricked her into joining the Communist Party. She had no idea what it was. They told her it's a group to help black people. But when she found out it was the Communist Party, she went to the FBI and said, look, here's what happened. I joined this group. They tricked me. It's the Communist Party. What should I do? The FBI there told her, go back into the Communist Party and become an undercover FBI agent. Well, naturally, Julia was all excited, an undercover FBI agent, so she did that. She's an undercover FBI agent. All right. So now she learned all about the communist activities, the apparatus. She learned in the Communist Party. They told her, Martin L. King is one of us. This is what they told her in the communist underground. So now she's an expert. She wrote a book, I Testify. So she was one of my colleagues. And as we would travel around, she would take great delight in telling people that I was her grandson. And she always did this, told people that she got such a kick out of it, telling people I was her grandson, and I could see people rolling their eyes, wondering, how can a black lady have a grandson as white as Herman Talmadge? But no one ever asked us how this could be. They just said, oh, well, all right, yeah. And I never said anything because she got such a kick out of it, and you didn't want to get crossways with Mrs. Brown. A man would have to be really deranged to get crossways with his grandmother.
Right.
So I never said anything either, so she got such a kick out of it. So we came to Sandersville, Georgia. We spoke to the people, but it was so dangerous, we could not have the black people and white people in the same hall at the same time. It would have been too dangerous. So we had 2 nights. One night we spoke to the black people, one night we spoke to the white people, and we told them what this was all about. They had no idea what this was all about. And
you just
we told them about King, who King was, what they were there trying to do, what the purpose of this was, the background. I told them, Mrs. Brown told them, and as we spoke both nights, we could feel the tension dissipating, and by the time we got finished, the black people went home, the white people went home, there was no riot, the King people left. So there wasn't a riot.
So they knew when they went into a community, if your strike team was there before, it wasn't worth trying, right?
Toward the end, and by the end I mean the end of King's life,
right.
Toward the end, when we would get King's schedule and when we would see King was going to appear here, Mrs. Brown would go there and talk to the people and tell them, here's what this is. Well, and she had maximum authority. She's a black lady.
Right.
Okay, so she would tell him, here's what this is. How do I know? I was there. So the tension would dissipate, and I remember quite clearly telling my colleagues at the time, you know, this man by now has been so discredited. We must do something to save him, because I was afraid he would be assassinated, because by now he had been so discredited. He would be of more value to them as a martyr, as a dead martyr, than he would as a live liability. And no more than maybe 3 weeks later, he was assassinated.
Now, this part's very interesting, because in the end of your article, Martin Luther King's son really came very close to the same conclusion.
Yes, it's amazing.
I find it's amazing. Also, that the King family supported James, who's the man that James L. Who was the
James
man?
James L. Ray.
James L. Ray.
Yeah.
James L. Ray. You're right. They supported him. They did not believe he did it, and they wanted him to have another trial.
Yes. So those are very interesting developments, and something still could come from them. Now, of course, Mrs. King is gone. Coretta Scott King, she too is gone. But there could be something arising from these developments in years to come.
Yes.
Many members of the King family.
Well, Alan Stang, this is a good time to stop for a break. It just gets more exciting, more interesting as we go on. This is a riveting article that he's written, and we will be back shortly.